Hey, and welcome back once again to the Endurance Hour podcast. This is episode 129, video and audio today, so you can hear us on iTunes or Stitcher Smart Radio, and you can watch us and see us on YouTube, and the username is SBRVids, or just type in the Endurance Hour podcast, and you'll find us. So thanks again for tuning in, logging on, and downloading us. Do you feel downloaded? I feel like Tron. Are we
this
downloaded?
This week I'm feeling a little downloaded.
What's going on this week?
No, nothing really. Actually, I was looking at my hair in the mirror here, and it looks a little sprouty. I had gone for a run, and I had a little cap on. So
this is straight out from your cap? This is how
I think I actually had a visor on, and I had a little skull cap thing that it went over because I thought it was going to be a little cooler than it was actually, and so that's why my hair looks a little subpar.
Well, you're saving our listeners from having to look at it.
I think last time I had a hat on. I thought the hat made me look shorter.
Yeah, for episode 128, you had your hat and also your glasses.
I did.
And the glasses have made a return.
They did.
You don't need your glasses for this close up, do you? I look great no matter
whether... I know. I just try to keep up with you.
I don't even wear my glasses.
Oh.
Hey, I put a post out there saying if you have any questions for us on this episode, we'll answer them. And we got some two really good questions that work out perfect for this episode, and some great feedback from the pros on your question. That'll come up here in just a second. Also, some other postings there about Barry Bonds just bought a $20,000 bike. Did you see that?
Yeah. I didn't, when you think, they're kind of saying it's a $20,000 bike, which, don't get me wrong, is an expensive bike, but I don't think it's that hard to get to a $20,000 bike these days. I mean, if you were to throw on a sweet set of like lightweight brand wheels, which are ridiculously expensive, and you went
couple grand for lightweight wheels,
even more,
okay,
yeah, per wheel.
Cool.
And then depending on which one you got, and then some of the frames out there that are getting a little crazy, and then all of a sudden you're spending $500 on a saddle, and I think it would be easy to get up to and throw on a power meter. It'd be easy to get into the 17,000 range pretty quickly. So I don't know. I mean, 20,000. Don't get me wrong. That's a healthy coin, but I think they're taking the specialized McLaren.
Yep.
I mean, you're taking. It's no different than like the Cervelo. What is it, the RCA, which is the R California, I think, version. I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong, people, but...
No one's ever going to correct us.
I know. True. But basically, it's Cervelos. They only made a handful of them, and the frame is like, I mean, unbelievable. I felt one time down at Fitness Fanatics, and it was just like so incredibly light. And I want to say the frame was $10,000. I mean,
wow.
And there was a limited, for just the frame was $10,000. So... obviously, you can find them cheaper now, people selling them and so forth, but there's 10,000 right there. So could you easily add on another 10 grand in components and, accessories probably? I would
remember when I spoke with Barry Bonds in 2013?
Oh, yeah. And you didn't bring up any of the drug stuff. I was really disappointed.
I know you were. I talked to him outside of Ironman 70.3 California,
right,
and he was kind of reluctant to talk. Because he made a joke about usually I get people pay me to do interviews or something ridiculous like that. I said, hey, we're talking about triathlon, and I didn't say this, but you're retired. Who cares? That video has been viewed 34,000 times on the YouTube channel. I'm going to add it right now to our Facebook page under the posting so you can see what he said when I talked to him, because he was getting into cycling. He's
always has been, but wasn't he there for his girlfriend?
His girlfriend was racing,
and he kind of wanted the attention to be on her. But he's a cyclist, and I think he's been through the media a bit. You see it in cycling news or I think more in triathlon than cycling. So,
and I remember him saying that he really isn't interested in triathlon because he has bad knees. But he really enjoys cycling because the exercise, and he was quite slim when I talked to him. I'm sure he's just as slim now. Anyways, I just posted it on our Facebook page as we talk.
Nice.
Speaking of cycling, I'll just go right into this because Peter Wickerman asked us, and you replied, and so we'll have a little more explanation in depth here. Can you tell me a little bit about rollers and adding resistance to rollers? And is there a difference between cyclops Cyclops and
Cyclops, yeah.
the Performance Bike House brand, both regarding trainers and rollers. Thanks for a great show. And before you answer, Roger, with types of trainers and adding resistance, we also posted from last week an 80-minute indoor bike trainer workout led by yourself. And there was a couple other members locally of our triathlon club. It's kind of an open house in a way, right?
Right.
Come out for an indoor bike training class. And so if you want to see this, and I know some people wanted us to stream it. I don't have the capability of streaming, but you can get an 80-minute workout. It's pretty cool intervals.
Yeah, and I have actually, obviously you were there, you saw it. I actually create a kind of a movie version of it that's telling you all this stuff. And Dave actually creates a movie of kind of the movie.
Yeah.
But you don't see the movie in the movie you create. And there's different music, of course, that we can't post on YouTube because of...
Well, I posted some music on there, and you can hear music in the background from your video that you created, but it's not monetized, so it's actually blocked in some countries.
Oh.
That's what it says on YouTube when I uploaded it.
Like North Korea?
North Korea, they won't...
China.
You can't watch it there.
Yeah.
So, sorry, Kim Jong-un.
I wonder what our viewership is in North Korea.
Who cares?
Probably it's not.
So your answer to about adding rolling resistance or rollers when it comes to indoor bike workouts, and you kind of made a comment about depends on what type of year you are cycling and what your goals are.
Yeah, that's a tough one. I come from a background of cycling and riding a lot of rollers, and even when I rode a lot of rollers, it's not something that was enjoyable because it's pretty high intensity, and we did everything that well, I'm chewing a little piece of...
Do you still own rollers now, or do you have any? No. Okay.
No. And it was kind of that hardcore cyclist thing that cyclists rode rollers. But the rollers back then were very smooth and efficient because we were on turbo trainers, which were basically air resistance. And when you rode one of those, man, I mean, you couldn't even talk above them because they were so loud.
Oh.
But now, now the technology obviously in the 90s went to magnetic, and then magnetic got to adjusting, and then it went to fluid, and then we had the the electronic, the CompuTrainers, and now the Tax, and and there's a few others out there. Wahoo, I think, makes one, and so I think rollers are that novelty piece that, and you can adding resistance. I know there's a lot of options out there for them, but they're making a comeback a little bit, and I think that's kind of like the fixie kind of comeback. And if you're doing it for training, like it's like I want to do some intervals and do some different things, and it's for cycling specific training. I think you're spending a lot of time and energy on something that you don't need to. I mean, and that's just my opinion. If you have a coach that's telling you really need to be able to ride rollers, that'll make you a better cyclist. I don't want to discourage that. But at the same time, it's no, you're okay. But at the same time, it's something that I don't know. Sorry, we had a little. Dave's got this, sorry, I'll get back to that. Dave's got this camera set up. He's got microphones. I mean, this place is practically roped off where we are, and some guy just ran into the camera. I mean, the thing's darn near 5.5 feet tall. It's on a tripod, and this guy just...
He walked by earlier, and so I put the chair there so he wouldn't be confused on... There's no room to walk through that spot.
I don't know where he was going. I think he was looking in the mirror here and just kind of checking himself out.
All right. Carry on.
So anyway, I'll just shorten it up. It's just saying, if you want to ride rollers, that's one thing. But if you're going, I need to get a good workout, and I think rollers will provide that. I think you get just as good a workout and a more focused workout using, your current magnetic, your fluid, or your, CompuTrainer / your electronic devices. But at the same time, if you want to ride rollers because you think it's fun, it looks cool, and you want the challenge, great, but I guess you got to just focus. I mean, I don't know. I don't ride them anymore. They're just takes too much energy. And if you want to do bunny hops and do little cross-ups and stuff, you know, that's not something that comes very easy. I saw someone recently post something of someone riding their rollers and making an omelet and coffee, which was pretty cool. But again, that's not really training. That's just like, look what I can do on my snowboard. Sweet jump, dude. You know,
Yeah.
it's like, look what I can do. No one's making omelets and drinking coffee in a training session. I think you're missing the point.
Yeah.
So, but I don't want to be critical of the person that asked about rollers. They're
Not at all.
a lot of fun and stuff, but I think if you're trying to get a real clean workout, I would stick to your other devices if you can't get outside. Number one is get outside. So.
Second question from Adam writes, would love to hear any travel tips you have, any best practices or things you have found most valuable to know. And when I think about traveling to a race and I think Roger Thompson, what do you think's the first thing I think of?
Food.
Food. And lots of Tupperware.
Lots of Tupperware, yeah. We should have Jesse here. That's who should talk about travel tips. And I would definitely say I could narrow it down to three main things. Number one is food, packing your food, because if you rely on airport food or whatever, it's going to be high carbohydrates or just total junk food. And even it's like, well, I'm going to get a fresh salad. It's like, is it really fresh? I mean, it's at an airport. So Jesse has always done a phenomenal job of packing just all this great stuff in Tupperwares, little rolls from meat and cheese rolls to dates, to figs, to little salads, to vegetable little Tupperware things. And so there are all these little Ziploc Tupperware things that I can either throw away or keep for the trip back. But everything's in these great little easy, access and easy to pack. And I love it. It's and it gets you there, and you don't feel like you just spent a day, eating total junk or kind of hindering your diet. The other one, that's the big one. The other one is packing your bike. And packing your bike, to me, with TSA, I used to pack a ton of stuff in my bike box. I mean, as much as I could, because you got charged for it and it could hold it. But with TSA now I try to keep as little in my bike box as possible, because they're going to take it all out and then they're just going to shove it back in. So if you got some really nice $400 helmet that you want it to be taken care of, it's not going to be. If you got stuff that you're putting in there and you have it perfectly placed against your frame because it's got to fit a certain way, it's not going to get put back that way. So I put everything in big giant gallon Ziploc bags. I put all my race clothing and typically my cycling shoes and of course the parts, and I put them in Ziploc bags and just put them easily. You'd have to be an idiot not to be able to get it back in there. Mm-hmm. And then the majority of the rest of the gear or my clothing or gear I travel with. So, things like wetsuits, put it in your box.
Your bike box?
Your bike box. And, because ultimately some people say, well, I want to be able to still race if I don't. It's like, if your bike doesn't show up, you're screwed. I mean, come on, let's call a spade a spade. It's not, you could still suffer through it, but
you mean with someone else's bike?
Yeah, if you got borrowed a bike, but what about shoes
or clips, pedals?
Yeah,
I've heard people would bring their own clips or their shoes
mm-hmm.
with them on the plane,
mm-hmm.
just because it's kind of hard to find the right pair of shoes that fit into your clips.
Yeah, I think you just got to anticipate that your bike's going to make it there. If it doesn't,
you have to assume that.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
it's either that or nothing.
Yeah, so those would be the two big things: is packing your bike so it doesn't get ruined, and securing it, and then the other is packing food
mm-hmm.
that you're going to be able to eat, that'll get you through that day and get you to your hotel or wherever you're staying. And then I'd also say travel plans, and I do this when we travel to Hawaii, is figure out where the closest kind of Whole Foods place is, where's the closest kind of shopping area that's I'm going to be able to get what I need, not the local ABC store or the 7-Eleven, but actually, because those places typically are close. You just don't know where they are. You just don't see them on the main drag. They're typically a block or two off.
So not that much further away.
Yeah.
Well, this is perfect. Your question, Adam, and then this topic. This was this same topic or question was featured in USA Triathlon magazine. Looks like winter 2015, volume 18, issue 1. And here's some comments by professionals and some other well-known named athletes in the triathlon world. BYO Snacks from Aaron Jones, Colorado Springs, Colorado, third place at the 2014 ITU Under 23 World Championships. She says, it can be overwhelming to find food in a new area. Plus, you never know how your body will react if you eat something different. I like to pack staples that I can eat and drink anywhere, like oatmeal, rice, Nature's Bakery, fig bars, and Gatorade powder mix. Another one here is about packing right. Katie Hershey, she was the 2014 New Plymouth ITU World Cup champion out of Phoenix, Arizona. She says, pack right. Bring essential items in your carry-on: bike shoes, pedals, race suit, goggles, running shoes. Goggles is a big one, isn't it? 'Cause
Yeah, probably.
you kind of need your kind of goggles. That way, if the rest of your bike or rest of your bags don't make it to your destination, at least you have enough to race with once you find your bike. And this is something that I think is very important, is sticking to your routine. And this is an age group triathlete who writes this. This is Patty Spence. Stick to the routine. Even if you're traveling somewhere exciting, don't try anything new. I'll never forget heading to Ben & Jerry's in Burlington, Vermont the night before a race. My friend couldn't resist a giant ice cream sundae, and wouldn't you know it, felt horrible mid-swim the following morning. So whatever your routine is, and I guess this has to do with your nutritional routine, according to what Patty writes.
Right.
That's important. Interesting, Ben Hoffman, who's been on the show before, says, underdo it. I really try not to overpack. Lugging an extra 15 pounds around an airport can wear on you. My carry-on is a larger backpack that doubles as a transition bag. Light is right. Plan to bring twice the money you think you need and half the clothing. What do you think about that? I mean, what's your packing routine, and are you a procrastinator? Because sometimes I am, until the last hour before I go to bed. I'm still laying things out and over in my mind, double checking, triple checking, and then on the way to the airport, I'm still thinking, okay, I got everything. I need to put this to rest and be confident that I got everything done.
I have I have checklists like I create on Excel.
Yeah.
I mean, from everything from race plan to race nutrition to T1 bag, T2 bag, everything. And then of course the pre-race, post-race, day 1, day 2, I'll create everything that I'm going to wear, what I can reuse, what I can't, and then I just go through, and then the following year, the following race, I make adjustments. Yeah, didn't use that, didn't need that. This, you have a dream of using, but you never do, type thing. So when you go to somewhere warm like Hawaii, you're packing a little differently than you would if you're going to a place that you're going in 3 days before and you don't know what the weather's going to be like.
Lake Tahoe, for example.
Yeah, I mean, if you pack thinking it's going to be, 80 degrees all the time, and then it turns out to be, or Boise. Shoot, Boise that one year, people,
Boise is notorious for having inconsistency in their weather.
Showing, up in a tri-suit or tri-top and shorts and going, this is what I planned on racing, and it's like, well, it's 42 degrees out, and you're going to come out of the, whereas in the cycling world, you go to a race and you bring everything, no matter what. You have tights, you have leg warmers and arm warmers and jackets and multiple layers and stuff. It's like, well, it's supposed to be nice. It's like, you bring the stuff, because if it's not nice, they're still going to have the race, and that's, I think, the part about triathlon or triathletes is that it seems like in general we're slow to learn that as a whole, and therefore most people aren't prepared, and therefore they have to cancel a race or cut something short. Boise, for example, would be a great one to use as an example. If people actually showed up with the right equipment, they could have run that race without a problem. People could have, the swim wasn't cold, they were in wetsuits. It's when they got out of the swim that they got cold. Well, if they had the right cycling clothes, they would have been fine. But people showed up in their tri-suits, and you just can't do that. So
a couple other comments here from some of the athletes. 2014 Ironman Brazil champion Haley Chura out of Bozeman, Montana, says, book early. Hotels in Ironman cities sell out nearly as fast as races, so book a room early. Racing internationally, ? Traveling with a group of endurance sports travel can make international racing surprisingly easy and affordable. I booked my entire Ironman Brazil trip through them. The trip was a breeze, and I had the time of my life.
Yeah, I've heard great things about endurance sports travel, and they do a lot of races. They've done a lot of them, and you can basically opt in or buy in whatever to whatever package you want. Meaning, I want to have someone do all this stuff for me, or you may say, no, I'm pretty good on my own. I just need to get there. If someone could look over my bike. But then they have we're going to do a go drive the course. We're going to do this on this day. Yeah, it's cool. And again, they make it easy, and those guys aren't stressed. Their athletes aren't all stressed out.
This one from TJ Tollickson, Des Moines, Iowa. We all know him. Ironman Mont Tremblant champion last year. He also won Placid before, and I'm sure a few others. Reach out, he says. When traveling to a race, the best piece of advice I can offer is to get in touch with local triathletes who can show you the ropes and when and where to train. Facebook and Twitter are two of the best resources for finding athletes who can point you in the right direction while traveling to a new destination. And that's so much easier today with Facebook. And just if you know someone, I mean, look at your own triathlon club locally, if you have one, and see who's going and who has gone before, and to get some tips that way. Anyways, check out the USA Triathlon magazine from this is volume 18, issue 1, winter 2015. On the cover we have Sarah Groff, so it's pretty easy to figure out which one that is. This is one, and you made a comment about it when you talked about Boise, and then some of these comments here is venue recon.
Sure.
Driving the course. I guess some of it has to do with time and how early you arrive, but I know you've done a number of triathlons. I have too. What is your thoughts on recon, and what do you put in your priority list of what do you see first if you have limited time in the order of priorities?
I think for me, the most, even when we raced Whistler, I didn't get to see, well, I guess we did. We drove the course. I rode the one out and back the first year, and then we drove the other part on that rainy day just to see the lay of the land.
That's right,
and, obviously it's really great to be able to get out and ride some of it, but ultimately for me, I just want to see what it looks like. I want to see these hills. I want to see what the terrain's like, where it's going. Is it shaded? Is it technical? Is the road surface weird? Is it, I just like to get a feel of where I'm going. But a transition area to me is like one of the biggest, understanding the transition flow, understanding direction, where you're going, where you're coming in, what the last 1 mile of the bike or 2 miles of the bike looks like, as you come in, what's the finish, last mile of the run look like, just so you know where you're at. Those are probably, to me, the most important. But, in an Ironman, you're never going to get that, or even in a half, you're never going to get that feel until you race it. And then it's about, going back the next year and, remembering, where you had trouble, where, and how you're going to change that. And that's why I'm a huge fan of, racing in races you've already done before versus racing a race. And I've already done that one. I want to do a new one. And which is great for variety, but not necessarily great for improving.
When we speak of Ironman branded races, I think not 100% of the time, for the most part that I know of, or at least my experience, they provide course maps on the website when you sign up for that race so you can see it, which also includes topography and turn-by-turn directions. One thing I found as useful, if you look at these maps and see a number of left-hand, right-hand, 90-degree turns, pull it up on Google Maps or Google Earth, whatever it is, and you can get a closer look. If you don't have time to drive 56 miles the full, if it's a one looper, hey, 2 loops is great because it saves you the time. You can do just half of it. Same with the run course. It all depends on how many turns there are. If they go through neighborhoods, it shouldn't be that hard to drive the run course. But with the bike course, go out there or use that map to see how hard of a turn that is this, and let me see that climb. Like Lake Stevens has a couple of steep climbs. I'd love to see what that looks like in relation to the road, or if there is some shade. And some of these courses will be true to what you see on Google Maps.
Right. Yeah, I'd agree. And it also gives you an idea of if you look at a satellite or a terrain view, you can say, oh, wow, this is a hilly section. Oh, you're climbing up a valley here. Or, it just gives you a feel. And some people say, I don't care. It's 112 miles or 56 miles. What does it matter? It's, I can't change that. It's kind of like the weather. Yeah, but you can prepare for it, and I think that's a big part of it. And I do. I like to see, especially the bike portion. I just like to get a feel of, kind of what it looks like. So,
well, it's also one less thing to concern yourself with. And I've been to many races where I'm working the race as a videographer, and Craig Alexander comes to mind. In Kansas, when he was first off the bike, he didn't know where the run out was.
Right.
And he would, because it's kind of tough when you're the first person, you have no one to follow, you don't have...
And no one's really ready for you to go anyway.
Exactly, same with aid stations. you've experienced that, right? Is so Crowley's coming out and going, which way do I go? His hands are going up, like left or right, and I don't. In a way, I say, you should know the course. You should know the left turns, right turns. You know where the out is. And I've fallen victim to the out before. It's like, is it here or there? And that's my fault. I mean, you got to know the course.
In short course racing, it's really important. I mean, when everything's determined by seconds. But Ironman and even halves are determined by seconds too often. So. That is definitely something that I'll lay my bags and look at the directions. Like, okay, the bike in's there. The bike, my T2 bag is there. Go there. Run out there. There'll be an aid station right as we leave. I'm sure I can grab some water. There'll probably be another one. It's just that you get a feel, and that way, again, when things come second nature, it's just less stressful. Your body just flows one direction. And you can deal with all the other crap that's going to go on that you don't have control over. So,
well, unfortunately, after 8 years, I believe, the popular and very financially beneficial triathlon, the Hy-Vee triathlon, which started in 2007, will no longer take place in 2015 and moving forward. This was on Slow Twitch. At least they posted this, and we put a link on our Facebook page. Hy-Vee sent out a letter to all participants to inform them of their decision not to list specific reasons, though, for the decision. And quote, this is from, it doesn't say who the quote from is. As our company's health and wellness priorities continue to evolve, we are constantly evaluating our offerings to ensure that we are engaging customers of all interests, fitness levels, and abilities. This process led us to the difficult decision to discontinue these events and begin exploring new avenues. It goes on more in Slow Twitch, but they show a picture here, and the winners are holding up these oversized checks for fun of $200,000 for the winners.
Right.
This is one of this was the area that the husband and wife team.
Bennett's.
The Bennett's,
Greg
yes.
Bennett and Laura Bennett.
And I think Greg Bennett was considered one of the wealthiest, or has won the most prize money in triathlon history, possibly.
Yeah.
And it's because of this race, because the purses have been so large. And it was because of last year or the year before that he won that and got automatic entry into any of the world championships at Ironman as a result. So it's sad to see this go. Have you ever experienced, have you been in any of these Hy-Vees?
It was a race that I qualified for and planned on racing, and it just, it didn't happen due to just some conflict, and it's just like, I guess I won't race it. They had 1 year for the fastest amateur. Christine Anderson actually was second. They gave a Mini Cooper to the winner.
Whoa!
Yeah, pretty serious. And I don't know if it was a lease or a 1 year, but I thought you got it. But it was but a gal from Washington actually won it, and that's a pretty cool prize.
Yeah.
But I with as WTC joining hands with Lifetime Fitness and all those races, and joining those, and Hy-Vee was obviously part of kind of the big money races of that. I wouldn't be surprised if they said, you guys are kind of doing, you're going to kind of potentially make it difficult for us, or push us out, or push this race out, or they're just saying, we're done with this. This is a it costs too much money to put this on. So
it's a financial decision. Why just make the purse less and keep the people coming?
Yeah, because they could potentially, maybe the course, the venue, the place right there wasn't. Hy-Vee was obviously a grocery store chain. Yeah. And they might just say, I think our time has come. We're done. And they might have seen the return on their investment to the point where it's like, it's not growing, or it's diminishing too much. I have no clue. I am totally just spitballing. But, we've seen it happen. We've seen we were in Kona when that announcement was made. We knew it was before it was made, by the scuttle that was going around about Lifetime and WTC getting together. Those are the Lifetime series, are the big short course prize. Those are the big races. Those are the big events for short course racing, and now they join up with, WTC. You're kind of getting, a big team going there that it'd be hard to kind of play against.
Well, here's someone who isn't slowing down at the age of 41. I don't know when his birthday is, but Craig Alexander, we just talked about him before, on the 8th, so gosh, about less than a week ago, he wins the Ironman 70.3 Geelong in Australia.
Yeah.
By a matter of, looks like 14, do the math here, there's a 4, there's a 3, 17 seconds.
You see his run time?
Yeah, like 112-ish over Sam Appleton. And then in third place, Mark Bosteed from New Zealand. And for the women, Liz Blatchford from Australia. She wins with a 30-second win over Rebecca Keat and then Sarah Crowley out of Australia. So Aussie's top 3 for the women, and Australia, New Zealand for the top 3 for the men.
See, that's what I'm talking about, like transition. When you're winning by 30 seconds, 17 seconds, I mean, that's a stressful run. That's not you have a big lead and you're just running I mean, that's a stressful.
Psychologically too, if you're chasing the whole time, also being chased, it has its own challenges.
Right.
Yeah, you said Crowe. I'm looking for his time. You say it was 112, no matter what, or?
Yeah. So I've heard some of his comments saying that he feels like he's fitter than he was last year at this time, and he feels really good. So I wonder if we'll.
He's always contended that this is his distance.
Yeah.
70.3. There it is. 112.25 was his half marathon time.
That's moving.
Yeah. There you go. And to kick off the season, remember this, Richie Cunningham?
Mm-hmm.
Where was that? Chile? Where was that?
Or Pucón?
Pucón, yes. Our boy Richie Cunningham from the Timex Multisport team kicked off a win at the beginning of the year. And this is our own news. I'll say it here. Matt Russell. Matt Russell is no longer on the team.
Yeah.
That was sad. I saw a picture. I think I saw his Facebook page and noticed that he didn't have his Timex gear on in his profile picture, and a couple other things were missing. And I texted him, and I guess I was a little late to the party on that one.
Yeah.
All based on a new
a
bike sponsor is what Matt told me is the reason why he had to switch. So sad.
Apparently, it's not Trek.
No. And it's sad to see someone leave because they're such a great person and a really nice guy. And so it's unfortunate I won't be able to see him in the red, black, and white colors rolling across the finish line when he wins or comes in the top 5, the old Blazeman roll. So that's other news that I have.
Yeah, I haven't seen much from him though. Like
even on
anything
Twitter?
New. Well, I don't tweet too much. I'm pretty bad with that. But I haven't seen anything from him with like new anything. So.
Well, it's still early in the season.
Yeah.
So other than that, we're looking at some good base building right now for the season. And from what you told me, last Thursday was the first time you hit your trainer and the first time that you were on your, I don't know if I'm revealing too much.
No.
First time on your tri-bike since probably Kona. You've been all mountain biking.
Yeah, that was the first time I got on my tri-bike. As a matter of fact, I built it up, I forget how long ago, after Kona. Just like, you know what, I'm going to put this thing together, got it all cleaned up and adjusted a few things and got it on the trainer and locked it down and ready to go, and it just sat there for probably a month and a half. It just sat there on the trainer. The tires actually went flat, and and that's it. So I've been riding my snow bike when I can, and my mountain bike when I can, and so to get on the tri-bike, I was a little worried last week. I'm like, God, I hope I can do these intervals, man. I'm like,
no one knows.
Worst case scenario, I can throttle the watts back quite a bit, and no one's gonna know, and I can just look like I'm working hard. But no, I was worried about position. I was worried that I wouldn't be able to get in that aero position for that long. It's like you'd get kind of like, I need to stretch out. But man, I was blown away. It just felt super comfortable, easy to do, easy to hold the watts, and just kind of cruised it along.
Tell us about the workout, if you remember. I can remember some of it because I just finished editing it.
Well, there's two in trainer rides. I'm a huge fan of a little bit of drill work always, and and there's two drills that I'm a huge fan of that are easy to do. And those are the fast pedals, which essentially you use a really low gear and you pedal at like 110 plus. And I mean, not to brag, because that's not what I'm doing. I typically like to have my cadence around 130, and that's what I'll hold it at. It's just, you don't want chain leg. You just want the easiest gear possible where you're not just, spinning your legs around in the wheels, kind of freewheeling. So it's not an interval that's supposed to be working your butt off. It's supposed to be just essentially spinning your legs around as fast as they'll go with a little bit of engagement on the chain or the wheel. Now, there's no way you can get your legs to spin around, really above probably 108, 110, unless you're efficient. And we do these for 1 minute on, 1 minute off. A lot of people will even do less than that, start at 30 seconds on, 30 seconds or a minute off. And you can go up to 5 minutes on, a couple minutes off. It just depends.
5 minutes?
Oh yeah, because you're just turning your legs really fast. If you are under load, if you're like your legs are getting tired, it's because you're pushing a gear, too big of a gear. It should be super light. The workout isn't for your heart rate. It's not an aerobic. It turns into one because you're moving your legs that fast. Mm-hmm. But the whole point is that you can't move your legs around that fast by just mashing down, by pushing down on the pedals. You have to come all the way around. You have to be coming around the bottom of the stroke and over the top. Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to do it. If you're just pushing down each time, you can only do that so fast. Even if you didn't have clips and straps on, or clipless pedals or clipless straps, or your foot's locked in somehow, you could still pedal that fast by actually pawing the pedal around. So it's doable, but it helps with pedals. But it works the front of your shin. It works, when you do it right. Then, so you go to minute on, minute off.
This is after a 15-minute warm-up or so?
I'd like to do a little 15-minute warm-up just to get the feel. And then once you ride at 120, 130 RPMs as you throttle back, for the minute recovery, when you drop it down to, say, like 90, it feels like your legs are barely moving. You're like, geez, this is like 60. So it gets your legs moving. It gets them fired up. It's like doing strides at the beginning of a workout, when you're running. So I like to do 4 of those, 5 of those, whatever gets you going. And then a little recovery ride, 5 minutes, just nice and easy, zone 1. And then I like to do one-legged drills where you unclip a foot, just kind of put it on the back. You just let it hang or push it against the back of the trainer. And again, same deal. It's not about heavy resistance. It's just about pedaling around with a little resistance and having a complete pedal stroke come around. Again, you can't do one-legged drills if you only push down. You'll push down and your leg will just sit there.
Yeah.
So, and that's really hard for people to do too, because a lot of people are just mashers. They just push down. But once you realize that you got to come all the way around, that's probably the one that a lot of people need to modify and go to 30 seconds to 45 seconds and then slowly build up to a minute. But when you have a good pedal stroke, you can come all the way around, and that means that your body's used to doing that muscle memory. So I like doing those too. If you feel like you're choppy, like you're pushing down and then pulling up and pushing down, it's just an area that you need to work on. Just like in swimming, if you're crossing over, it's an area you need to work on. If you're, your hips are low in the water, you got to work on getting your hips up. If your kick is crappy, you work on your kick. So it's a deficiency area. But again, you want to train your body to do it right. So then after we did that, I think
back up to that one.
Oh, sure.
One thing I find challenging or eye-opening about the one-leggeds is recognizing which leg is stronger and where you may become fatigued quicker. Because I find my left leg as the weaker of the two, and I find maybe some weakness or soreness in my hip flexor.
Sure.
So it's a good drill to find out where your balance is or lack of balance.
Or adjustment, or sometimes it's, maybe one leg's longer, could be, could be a lot of different things. But yeah, you're right. It identifies some imbalances in your stroke, no question.
And with cadence, or I guess as long as you keep the pressure even, you're able to do that. Is there a cadence?
On the one-legged, I think, it's going to be a little lower cadence, but if you can keep it around 7 to 80, at least, it's pretty good. But again, it's not about a hard drill. It's about just keeping chain resistance and coming around. It's a drill. It's not an interval.
How many of these would you say is a minimum, and how many is too many, or when do you want to kind of like draw the line? Because I think you have them at 4 by 1, or what do you call it?
4 by 1, and not, I guess I've gone as many as 6, which is
per leg with
6, so a total of 12, and fast pedals, as many. But you got to adjust them to what you can do. These, again, if you're doing them and you can barely get through a minute and you're just like, oh my gosh, how'd I survive? It's probably too much. These aren't designed to wear you out to, this is just a warm up. This is just like stretching out, getting ready to roll. So if they're super hard, adjust them. But 1 minute is typically enough. You don't need to do a 10-minute one-legged drill. That's kind of pointless.
So you've got your warm-up, you've got some fast pedals, one-leggeds. Are you transitioning in between your main interval now?
Well, between the drills, I like to do just a 5-minute recovery.
Okay.
Just get the pedal stroke back together. And then after the 2 drills, then typically, like depending on how much time we have, it'd be a 10-minute, like tomorrow I think is about a 10-minute just endurance. It's what you go out and do if you're out, zone 2-ish. Just out riding. And on the trainer, it's harder because you think you're in zone 2 and you look at your heart rate and you realize it's, I feel like I'm going so hard, and you look at your heart rate and it's like, no, that's what you stand and do. So, about 10 minutes.
And then what kind of break in between that?
So after about 10 minutes, then we go into the tempo, typically, intervals, straight into.
Oh, so a 5-minute recovery, 10 minutes.
Well, no. Oh. 5 minutes in between the drills. So about a 15-minute warm-up, fast pedals, 5-minute recovery, one-leggeds, 10-minute endurance, and then go straight into the tempo intervals, which are, I'm a huge fan of tempo intervals. They're like basically the meat and potatoes. It's to me, they're gold. It's not that you race like this, but it allows you to build, it's kind of that Nautilus mentality. It's the weights for the legs. It's the endurance. It's stressing them and holding them there and holding them there. And you're not, and everyone says, well, I'd like to pedal faster. It's like, because it's easier to pedal faster. When you slow the cadence down, and some people slow it down to 60, but typically I think if you can keep it close to 70, in the 70, 75 range, and if you have to err on the lower side because of gearing or whatever, to 68 or something like that, you're better off on that lower end than you are getting up to 78, 80. Now you're getting into just riding normal.
Okay.
So keeping the cadence low between 70 and 75 and going into that zone 3, so you're turning, you're in your aero bars, or whatever position you want to be in, I guess, and you're just turning those legs around a little slower than you should be riding at. If you normally ride at 70, your cadence is way too slow.
Now, you said maybe you can be in your aero or not. Wouldn't you want to ride in the way that you would race?
Well, it depends. I don't know. If people aren't triathletes, they don't have aero equipment.
Okay.
So whatever. I mean, ultimately, yes, because if you sit up on a mountain bike, let's say, and you ride at that, it's a lot easier because you're opening up your diaphragm. It's easier to breathe. But if you get down in that aero position, you realize, wow. Am I too aero? Am I too aggressive because I have a hard time breathing now? I can't. My heart rate's going really high. I'm having to breathe. Versus if I sit up, it drops down. That's a position issue that you could look at. But that's kind of a side note there. But ultimately, get in the aero position. Just settle in. You drop your cadence down to 70. It'll feel easy, and then after about 2 minutes, all of a sudden it's going to be like, this isn't comfortable.
So you're watching your heart rate or you watching your power?
I'm watching my power, but I have a CompuTrainer, so I set these at an exact power, and I just hold them there.
Okay.
And ultimately, with power, what's really cool to see, and even with, when you do these on your trainer, you know what gear you're in because you're keeping a cadence at 70 to 75. So you're going to be in the same gear each time. The thing to remember, though, is when you download your data later, is to look at what your heart rate's doing for each one. The early ones that we do, the 3 by 10 minutes or the 2 by 10 minutes, it's a little short to really see a lot of correlation, but if you do 3 of them, you can start to see it. But what happens when you do some of the longer ones, the 15-minute, which isn't really that long, but 20-minute, 30-minute ones, you do multiple ones of those, you start to see where your heart rate is truly stabilizing, where it's truly comfortable at that wattage. So what often happens is people pick a wattage or an effort that's like, oh yeah, this is where my heart rate is at the start of the interval, but then it gradually climbs and climbs and climbs, and all of a sudden you start in a zone 3 and you end up in a mid-zone 4, and it's like, well, no, you climbed into a zone 4, so you actually were working too hard. And that's where a power meter or a CompuTrain or a device that controls that wattage is that stays constant, and then you can determine whether it's like, well, I picked too high of a gear or too much watts. I'm not there yet, so you can throttle it back. So it's called, basically decoupling in your intervals, where your power stays the same and your heart rate starts to drift away, meaning that you're not fit enough to do what you think you can do, because your body's now responding, going,
Yeah. Yeah.
But people see that all the time on their when they download their devices. Have seen it's like their data for an interval is their heart rate goes up and it stays like a straight line, just with the power, and it's like you're good. You could possibly go a little higher, and then they'd be maybe a straight line, and then it might drift up just a little bit, but it's telling you where you're at and where you're not. But most people often, when you're just going off of heart rate, typically will pick a too hard of a gear because they're looking at their heart rate in the first 5 minutes of the first interval.
Yeah.
And your heart rate is reacting to the work you're doing. It's not like, oh, I'm in this gear, so now my heart rate goes up to 140. It's like it takes time to get there. So.
And so this workout that you have planned for Thursday, an 80-minute or 90? What do you got?
I think it's 125.
Okay.
But it's mainly because we're doing 2 by 15-minute tempos. I'd like to do 3, but I don't know.
Okay.
The third one's always nice because 1, it's like 2, it's giving you an idea your body's underworked. But the third one is really, if your second and third one match up, that's really kind of cool.
Okay. And then you do a 5, 10 cool
10-minute cool down.
10?
And again, it just depends on, some people, finish the interval and like ride for a minute and then fall off their bikes. But not really, they don't fall off their bikes. But some people,
on their rollers they do.
Yeah, on their rollers they stop pedaling and fall over. It's 10 minutes. I think, and it's easy when you know you're done. It's a lot easier to ride longer.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
Or you're at the end of the last interval. I think I'm going to pick it up a little bit. All
right, 2 more topics as we wind down here.
Sure.
Coming up on 47 minutes of the podcast now. So if you are on a bike ride right now, we're out on a run. We're about 47 minutes in, and depends on how much you're going to run or ride, is how much time you have left. So 2 things. One is this oatmeal recipe that I posted almost a month ago.
Right.
I posted what I was having one day, and I still have these. I have to actually go get some more sliced almonds. I'm out. 1/3 dry of oatmeal for myself. I had about a spoonful of the virgin coconut oil in there, and then sliced almonds, blueberries. I had a splash of milk and a pinch of brown sugar. It's one of my favorites right now. Sometimes I'll put strawberries, and so I asked people to post some of their oatmeal recipes, and I got this is some Scott Shoemate. Oatmeal, flax seeds, cinnamon, raisins, almond slices. Yeah, spoonful of almond butter.
Yep.
Very good. Cody Riddle, steel cut oats with ground flax and whey protein. John Newman, I replaced some of my oatmeal dishes with mashed sweet potatoes.
Ooh, love it. Love it.
Almond peanut butter, hemp seeds, and sea salt. Sea salt.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Sea salt's great.
Okay. In oatmeal.
Yeah.
With his mashed potatoes.
He's with the sweet potatoes. Yeah, sea salt goes on those chickpea blondies that Jesse makes. Those garbanzo beans.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And one last one here from Jody Davis: oatmeal, protein powder, blueberries, easy and yummy.
Yeah.
What does that work out to be? You think about calories wise in a morning? For what I'm getting, are we looking at 400 or 500 calories?
Probably what you're getting. Yeah, I'd say that's probably right in there, depending on some of those other things in there that could be a little denser in calories. But yeah, probably between 5 and 7.
Okay.
I would suspect. Yeah, I have the same thing. I mean, Jesse and I eat the exact. I mean, I make it every morning. And honestly, it gets me out of bed in the morning because I'm so excited to eat. But
the oatmeal
combo
that you have?
We just have oatmeal, and I would suspect I eat about 1.5 cups uncooked because I do two scoops, boil it, and then I eat probably
A cup and a third
yeah.
of dry?
Yeah. It's quite a bit.
Okay.
And then
How do you stay so lean?
I don't know how many calories it is, but it's a lot. And then I have a sliced banana in there.
Okay.
I put a coconut milk in there, and then sliced almonds, and also coconut shavings. About a quarter cup of sliced almonds, a quarter cup of sliced coconut, and honey.
Okay.
And it's quite the meal, but it gets me going in the morning. I mean, I think I could eat a bucket of it. I mean, I just love it. And we've been eating that ever since Jesse's allergies. That's what we switched to, and she comes home, it's all ready, and that's what we have, and that's what I have race morning. That's what I have all the time.
You mentioned, and I will just say this real quickly, if you want to listen to our Living Gluten-Free episode, that's on 127 that we posted on January 5th. Roger talks all about how Jesse's diet has drastically changed and for the better for both of you, and the role gluten has played in your life, and how you're eating differently these days. So check out episode 127 of the podcast. You can also find it on endurancehour.com just for a reference point. Let's finish off, and this is based on your suggestion from last episode. We're at 50 minutes, by the way, is finishing off with our high-low.
High-low. Gosh,
High-low.
I forgot about that.
I didn't forget about it.
I was really excited about it when we came up with that.
So high-low is a concept, and is something that Roger introduced me and Melissa to, is where it could be at the end of the day or at one point during your weekend, whatever you want to do, or maybe probably just a daily thing, is like, what was your high of the day? And it could be anything. And what was the low point of your day? Maybe sometimes you can have two high points and, variations of your high points. And sometimes it wasn't a great day, so your low point might be dominating your day. So do you have, we'll go high, and then low each.
Okay.
So
you start with the high. You've been ready. I've kind of forgotten.
My high points, I think it was it sounds so silly. I had a frustrating day with some of my work projects, but I guess the high point of my day was just kissing Melissa goodbye to work today when she left for work this morning.
Nice.
So it was as good as it got this morning.
Right. It's been a long day.
It's been a long day, and that was as good as it gets. So I'll see her in about a half hour, 45 minutes, and that'll be my second high of the day.
Right.
So that's my high.
Love it. Gosh, because she's at a class right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't have a.
You went for a run today. Does that
probably my
school? Anything school related?
No,
some
nothing.
kids?
Oh, heavens, no.
Okay.
No, I'm just kidding. Nothing that stands out.
Something with the kids?
But probably running. I ran in I had got a new pair of shoes yesterday, the Hoka Vanquishes that just came out, and so I ran in those today. And it's always nice to run in a new pair of shoes. You just testing them out.
Yep.
You always hope you have a good run in them, because if you don't, it's like, these things are horrible. I hate these shoes. But I enjoyed them. They're fun. It was a beautiful day. We've had great weather.
Yeah, it turned out wonderful.
And I just don't like having to run in the dark all the time, because it was, you take off, it's beautiful, and it just gets dark so quick now.
Mm-hmm.
But that was fun to get out and kind of sneak in a workout that I didn't really plan on doing. So low.
My turn.
Sorry.
Playing tennis here.
Playing tennis.
Speaking of a nice day, I guess this can be my part 2 of my high, is that I took the dogs out for a walk this morning, and it was such a nice day, fresh air, the fog. I live up on a prairie. The fog was lifting, so it was a nice day to take the dogs for a walk. Okay, the low part of my day was I was out there shooting a video for my car reviews channel, Everyman Driver, and I was went out to not Patton Expressway. What is that place on the backside of Waikiki? Come around that long stretch. Gosh, now I can't remember.
Rudder Parkway?
Rudder Parkway. What did I say? Patton? Yeah, Rudder Parkway. And I was doing some 0 to 60 runs in this Mazda 3 that I have. And I couldn't get a clear enough spot without cars going back and forth. So I was getting frustrated. I spent 20 minutes to do 5 runs. And usually I can get that done in 8 minutes.
Right.
So not only was that frustrating, but I was trying to get into third gear because I couldn't quite get to 60 miles per hour in second gear, and so I had to hit it in third, and I swear on 3 occasions I grinded it back into first, almost.
Oh!
So it's not my car,
Right.
so I almost hit it into first. I'm like, why is this? I can't shift into the third gear. I was so frustrated, and then the whole shoot was a bust. I can't use any of the video. It took too long, and it's too much video to sort through and edit through. It was just a wasted hour and a half.
Crap.
So I was very frustrated. That's my low.
So I took it for buying.
Well, I have a Volvo right now.
Do you?
It's a XC60 all-wheel
Oh,
drive.
nice.
This thing is awesome.
Yeah.
I like Volvos. I think I would be a Volvo owner if I had to buy a car and I
Yeah.
had the money.
We had a Volvo.
It's really nice. This thing's got 300 horsepower.
Wow.
It's a 3-liter, 6-speed automatic with paddle shifters.
Uh-huh.
I don't think paddle shifters with a Volvo for some reason.
Yeah.
And all-wheel drive, 325 pound-feet of torque. It's just a really nice drive. It's solid, heavy. It's got a cage in the back.
XC60?
XC60 T6.
Is that a wagon or a sedan?
It's a wagon.
Okay.
It's
we had
kinda
an XC70 cross country.
Okay. Anyways, there we go. There's my little car low today. All right,
Yeah.
low time.
Low, I didn't have any crazy lows today. Yeah, no, I didn't have. I mean, there are parts of the day that were just kind of like,
Mm-hmm.
unloading dishwashers, things like that. But those aren't lows. Those just aren't things that you look forward to doing. But I don't not like doing it because it's like that. It's like seeing a big pile of dishes in the sink. It's just like that. Again, that accomplishment of like, but once you get it done, you're like,
That was
there we
easy.
go.
That took
That's
a matter of
nice.
10
Look at
minutes,
that.
done.
Look at that,
Yeah.
So, yeah, nothing crazy low, nothing that I just am wandering around dropping F-bombs and stuff. Not even kids today. There weren't any bizarre kid situations today.
Huh.
So,
Okay.
yeah, I'm sorry. God, what a disappointment.
What are you talking about? You had some a good high and a medium low.
Yeah.
No, this has been episode 129, just under an hour. So the Endurance Hour living up to its name. And kind of apologize a little bit that we've been, long between podcasts, but that's kind of what we told you earlier this year as we shot out for 2015 that we'll get together when we can. And based on your response or lack thereof, you don't seem to mind.
Lack thereof it. Well, I mean, again, you had stuff going on, and
It's a slow part of the year.
Yeah.
It'll pick up, and with our own personal training and racing and all that good stuff, and now we're able to share with you some indoor bike training rides via video.
Tomorrow.
Yeah, so
Get it going tomorrow.
And I did post last week's on the Endurance Hour Facebook page. No, I'll do the same thing with this video too. So if you want to sit through it, I don't know how you'd watch it. I guess just watch it on YouTube. I don't know. It just
Yeah, I don't know if. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe some people have some ideas on how they'd utilize it. I mean, I could see definitely going, hey, got this. Let's
ride with them.
Let's do this workout.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe in your own house or in your own garage, and you invite some friends over. But I don't, turn the volume down and just because it is queued up. It does tell you at the bottom like what's coming up next, what you're doing next. But
well, people have smart TVs now where
Right.
you can go to YouTube and watch YouTube on your television.
Yeah.
Or somehow sync it up between your laptop and your TV. So there's one way, and I don't know. Maybe I'll just put the microphone and let the microphone hear you talk. I guess.
I didn't say too much, though, I don't think.
No,
we were
but-
talking about random stuff.
Yeah, that was kind of strange. I don't know how people will react to that, but I guess I could put the graphics up bigger of showing what stage you're in if you want to see us ride with a big graphic of here it is, 10 minutes of this. Here's our
Yeah, I
one-legged.
think we'll hopefully have a few more people next time.
Yeah.
Or tomorrow.
If you have any feedback on that type of video, or if you want to see more of them, let us know. Otherwise,
If it requires a ton more work, just know that that's not going to happen.
it's not that big of a deal.
No. I mean, with commentary and
Oh, yeah.
throughout the whole thing, it's a movie. Actually, I create a movie that we watch that has the whole thing. What you are seeing is a video of us
yous guys.
doing the workout while that is on the screen. So, maybe.
Okay, well,
don't
I'll
think I
experiment with how I shoot this next time. I'll just use one camera versus two, And Craig, who maybe is listening today, he was in that video, one of our team members on the Timex factory team, by the way.
Yeah.
So he's in that video. Okay, guys.
Yeah, Power Bar product again, too.
Oh,
Maybe
yeah.
I'll bring some more of those wafers.
Do you have any more chocolate wafers?
Maybe I do.
I'm out.
Well, you're out before you even get home. You're probably out.
I devoured my first 2 boxes in the first
They're
week.
good. They are good.
All right, folks.
What you need to do is eat a bunch of them until you vomit. Then you won't want them again.
Well, the raspberry ones I have now. I had one of those today, and
I don't even think they make those anymore.
The one that you gave me?
Yeah, I think they have chocolate and then they have peanut butter versions of it, and I could tell you right now what they have.
So I better eat those raspberry ones before they go bad?
Come on. They're never going to go bad. It's sugar. It's sugar and I don't know what else.
Glucose and
it's
protein.
Good stuff. It's stuff that lasts forever. And it's in a shiny package.
Very shiny.
And they taste very good. I'll tell you what's available. For product-wise, they have... it's the chocolate peanut butter and the chocolate peanut butter. It's a half box. One has... It's a smaller box, it looks like. So, anyway. Yeah.
Okay. All right, we just hit the 1 hour mark, so your 1 hour run or your 1 hour bike fitness training is over, unless you want to re-cue this up, which would be stupid.
Cool it down.
Time for your cool down, just with your thoughts. For Roger Thompson, I'm Dave Erickson. This has been episode 129er. We'll see you next time right here on iTunes, Stitcher, and online at endurancehour.com. See you later.